Howdy everybody, here to do my monthly walkthrough. It's February now, about partway through. That big January storm has still held out all this time, but we're starting to finally get the last of it to melt away, so thought I would start things off right about now. Here's the, what would I call this? The shade tree, the food forest island that I showed you guys how to make a while back. Down in there, don't know if everything made it or not. Most things look pretty dead right now, but I do see a tip of a garlic poking up through there, so some garlic survived. It tends to survive pretty well. Oh my, it's a hawk overhead. Neighbors shooting. These are just kind of the things you live with when you live in the country. I don't mind it that much, but I'm gonna head over this way. This was an old play area. I've probably shown it off before, but what I'm focused on is one of the first things I planted years before I really got back into my dreams as a gardener. Is I stuck some asparagus in the ground here. Now I left it all year. They're still holding on, but these are all asparagus stalks. All this was just energy that the plant soaked up, pulled into the roots. These massive asparagus tops. I mean, even on my legs, big asparagus. So there'll be asparagus there to harvest in spring. Start walking over this way, around the old play area. It's been taken over by wild black-cap raspberries and mulberries, all that good stuff. Yep. Walking over this way. Sorry, I got distracted, saw one of my cats running, making sure nothing was chasing him. But here's one of my, well, first off, this is the big area with all the mulberries I talked about last summer. But in there's one of my chestnuts that'll eventually grow up and taller. Walking over this way, here's one of my chestnuts that has a couple things growing around it. There's a little bitty sassafras tree right there I may move. And there's chestnut leaf. Just making my moves through the area. Little bit by little bit. But yeah, all that snow we got will definitely add a ton of nutrients. Here we can see little puddles. We're on kind of a hilltop, so you know we got a lot of water if we're forming puddles. Hopefully it doesn't harm any of the trees, because chestnuts do not like wet feet in winter, but hopefully it won't be too much. A couple of them you can see I mounded snow around them to focus the nutrients. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem of too much fluid, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, there's the chestnut orchard as the snow starts melting away. Pretty beautiful. Can't wait to see them all up above the tree shields. Even more so, I can't wait until I can take the tree shields off, because it's going to be gorgeous to see all these trees 30 feet apart one day. I'm going to make a cut and take you guys out to the usual food forest where I normally focus on in these videos. Be right back. Alright, and we're back, starting out kind of by the road, so I apologize if there's any road noise, but there's one of our cold hardy yucca that we got from a dumpster where someone tore out some landscaping. Here we've got one of my two jujubes. Now this one was originally a grafted variety, but it died off all the way to the ground, and it came back as the rootstock. So it might be an absolutely good, terrible one, it might be decent, but it's got a couple walking onions and garlics popping up around it. If I head off inward a ways, I have another jujube that never died back to the ground, at least not last year. So we'll just have to see how it's doing, but here it is. Nice long thorns, thin, needle-like. This one's supposed to be tiger's tooth. It's got a big comfrey plant around it, dropping off all that nutrients right on the surface. I believe that's a yucca. Pretty sure it's yucca. But that one's going to look quite nice. And then Of course, there's still snow everywhere. Walking in a little further, there's all sorts of stuff hiding around. Harder to see because of the weather. Strawberries are still nice and green. There's some kind of a walking onion in and amongst the strawberries there. There's some asparagus stalks still hanging out. All of it's around that peach tree. All this white stalk was tomato, volunteer tomato that just took off and grew all over. There's a blueberry and a whole bunch of different greens, carrots and things like that, all growing up there. Walking over this way, here's one of my 2 green gauge plums. Hopefully one of these years we'll have the right conditions to eat some. I know it doesn't love my very cold climate as much as some other plums do, but my wife really wants to try one day, and no one sells them here, so I'm growing them. A whole bunch of asparagus stalks there again. Right there is a geranium. Geranium that's looks terrible right now, but it grew quite healthily, so I suspect it'll pop back as soon as spring rolls around. See the big dead comfrey pile laying there. It's going to break down as the temperatures warm back up. Right over here, the big stake, and of course it's invisible right now, but there is a yellow passion flower, edible but not really worth eating. That will grow up this stake in time. Right in here, again, big huge comfrey that's been there a couple years, spreading out all over the ground. There's one little stalk in there that's a bee balm, and a comfrey here. Yep, very, very pretty spot in the orchard. Turn around. I really need to get some kind of animals that can help me keep this stuff trimmed. There's a big, beautiful lavender. Huge lavender plant. Yep. Here we've got, I believe, some chives. Yep, some chives, some strawberries. Really beautiful little spot there. Right in here, I believe, yep, that was some wine cap mushrooms I didn't catch because I just wasn't here at the right time, so they've all turned to mush, but that's okay. That's just more food for the soil. Walking around looking for things that stand out. See, right over here, we've got my purple passion crabapple. Right around it is some more asparagus. I planted some lavender here, but it never really took off. It looked like it dried right up. This purple passion is overall quite nice looking plant. Very, very tight buds. It's supposed to be very cold hardy, so I'm sure it'll do just fine in spring. It's supposed to produce pink fleshed crab apples, pink flowers. Walking over this way, here we have my double grafted from Gurney's Asian pear. Don't know what this particular branch is. This might be the rootstock coming up. It's very thorny, so I suspect this is the rootstock. In spring I'll trim it. But there are different grafts up and down this tree of different Asian pear varieties so that I can have different options. Walking this way, we've skipped a lot of our usual stuff that we talk about, but oh, there's some garlic popping through all over there. Popping out over here, we've got one of my contender peaches. A lot of dead tomato plants that are going to return to the earth. Walking over here. Here we have my, what is it, chestnut crab apples. Gonna head back towards the front. We rarely go this direction, but another asparagus patch and my great big huge tall Arkansas black apple. Keep walking over this way. Here we have my Odisso red love. Again, some flowers that don't look so great right now, but I suspect in spring they'll bounce back. My other green gauge looking quite nice. The temperature's starting to drop and the wind's picking up, so I might have to cut this short, but blackberry, Ponca blackberry. Last thing here I'm going to show before we start heading over to the nut orchard Again, asparagus in the area, horehound stems. But this is my medlar. It's not looking amazing, but it's not looking terrible. I also am going to be ordering another medlar because I love how beautiful they are, even if I'm not crazy about the fruit. But we're going to start kind of speed walking down to where I mentioned, the nut orchard next. Be there in a minute. Alright, continuing from here, we have my cold hardy almond tree. Nice and flexible branches still, so it doesn't seem like it's died in the cold. You know, one of those plants I had never grown before, so it's natural to be a little bit worried about, but it seems to have survived just fine. Hopefully all the hopness have survived just fine under this deep mulch. And walking over this way, I attempted to prune one of my walnuts, and unsure if it would make it or not, I just stuck it in the ground. I don't think this will make it, but we'll see. There's one of my plums, wild plums. I've got 2 of those, and I've got 2 nanny berries, stuff that the animals can nibble on. And then walking out this way, I've got a crandall clove currant next to that post. Way in there, I've got one of my seedless honey locusts. Very excited to see how good the seedless honey locust will do. These are supposed to be an improved variety, or at least seedlings of an improved variety. One that I got from Brambleberry Permaculture. Very, very nice tree. Nice feeling bark. And all those vines are hopness all around it, so it's a quite happy tree. It's got a nitrogen fixer on a nitrogen fixer. Here we've got the top of a, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but Black-Eyed Susan. It was a red Black-Eyed Susan. Here's the tree that I trimmed because I was worried about it so much. But this is one of my Japanese walnuts. They have a beautiful spike on the top. Try not to get the shadow in there. Beautiful spike. Beautiful leaf scars. Just beautiful trees in general. I quite hope that they do well. I've got 4 of them. 2 of one variety, 2 of another. I got actual grafted good varieties. They're supposed to have really good nuts. Quite excited to see how they do. Over here, this was my runt until I put this different style of protection. When I put this tree shield on it, it shot straight up. Much nicer. I guess because it had a full year to get strength in its roots, and it knew it couldn't get very much sunlight unless it actually reached, so it went for it. I suspect the same will happen with my my American persimmon here. I don't remember if this was a proc or a meter. I'm sure I can look it up if someone asks in the comments, but yep, it grew all the way up to the top, and then it had to rest because when I got it, it was just a short little tree, very short for the money I paid. But it eventually made it to the top, and then it just kind of stayed stunted ever since it got to the light. I think the tree just needed a rest. It focused too much energy on growing straight up, and once it got there, it needed a rest. But I'll bet that it's got that rest over winter, and it will pop back up and start growing again in spring. Here we have another of my Japanese walnuts. This one again will probably need a lot of major pruning decisions. Whether I take out all the old wood, because this is a new branch that shot almost straight up, doing really well. And all this old wood doesn't look that great. I'll have to look at the graft union and make that call in spring. Walking over here. Here's one of my 2, shagbark hickories that I bought as seedlings and have just kind of been failure to thrive ever since. They've never done well. They've never grown an inch, but they do put out like 2 leaves every year. Got to decide if I actually want to keep those and keep trying or not, but I've got 2 more of them on the way, but improved varieties. Here's another one of my thornless honey locusts. This one got chewed down low by deer. That's where it got chewed down by the deer, right there. So it's exploded back up to 2/3 the height of the other one in only 1 year of catch-up. So good nitrogen fixer, grows really well. Here's my last Japanese walnut. Again, just beautiful, beautiful spike on the end. It's gently velvety like a deer antler. But other than that wasp nest down in there, it's a very simple tree. It hasn't gone all kinds of crazy, so I may just let it grow out from 3 points instead of one central one. Walking out here, we have my Bart nuts. So this is a Bart nut. It's a cross between a Japanese heart nut and an American white walnut. White walnuts have no resistance to specific couple diseases, and the Japanese walnut makes it resistant. Another wild plum from a different seller, so we have some genetic variability. There's another Bart nut in there, and from there on out, it's all chestnuts again out here. Lots and lots of chestnuts. Trying to decide if I want to put in another shagbark right here. Like I said, I've got 2 more coming. I could park it right in between, but I don't know, it's pretty close to that chestnut. I think that'd be crowding them a bit too much. I may have to pick a different spot instead. But yeah, from here on out, all chestnut trees. This year I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of varieties and give a whole bunch of genetic diversity. I'm either going to plant some very specific hazels that grow large, or some American hazels that stay short but might tolerate the shade a bit better. Some comfrey growing up in between. That's about all I've been able to add out here is some comfrey. But yeah, lots of beautiful, beautiful things to see out here. I'll check in next month and show you all how things are going. Though we have winter hold on pretty long up here, so there won't be a lot to see for a while to go. But thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video as soon as I can. Goodbye, everybody.